In this video, I've got another great interview with a real estate agent that I'm coaching. She's brand new to the industry. This is her first full year. And so there's a lot of, I think, really inspiring things that you're going to take from today's interview. She's going to share it all. She's not going to BS you. She's going to walk you through the ups and the downs that she's had in her very first year. She's going to talk about one of her breakthrough months where she was able to get 5 listings in her in 1 month. She's going to walk you through her daily schedule, her tactics, her strategies, some of the skills that we're working on. She's going to share it all. So I hope that you get a ton out of today's video, that you get at least a page worth of notes. And if anything in today's video makes sense and you watching this want to have a conversation about potentially a coaching relationship between me and you, I will put a link underneath this video. Feel free to click it, schedule a day and time that works best for you. We can walk through what it looks like to work together and then together decide if now is the right time or not. And if not, like I always say, I hope that you get great value from the content. So let's jump into the interview. All right. So Helen, I appreciate, number one, you jumping on to do this with us. Just to kind of tee things up, you're right here in Michigan. Tell the audience, how long have you been actually selling real estate so everyone can kind of understand where you're coming from?
Okay, so I've been selling real estate now for a little over a year, so maybe a year and 4 months. And it has been like a journey for sure, to say the least. And I've been in your coaching program for 3 months now.
Awesome. And so 2022 will be your first full year in real estate, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So what I'm always curious, what got you into this insane business that you and I are both in?
Um, well, to make the long story short, I was in marketing and sales for Costco. I did that for about 13 years. And after the pandemic happened, it really changed the dynamics of my job. And I've always wanted to be in real estate. And I think once everything started to hit the fan, in a sense, I decided to take that leap. And I stepped down. I slowly started to demote myself from work. And one day I just decided just to do it full time, because I realized that part time is not the way to do this. If you're going to do real estate, it's burn the ships, get in it, and move with the punches. Otherwise, you're going to fall behind.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think, to your point, there are a lot of people in our industry that try to do it part-time, but if you're part-time, you're going to get part-time results, plain and simple. So you went all in, 2022 being your first full year. Let's kind of go back to when you first got started in the industry, and then we'll kind of bring you up to present day. Going back to when you first got in the business, a lot of people find that real estate sales is very different than what they thought they were getting into. Was that the same experience for you?
100%.
Tell me about that.
I went in with uninformed optimism, right? I was optimistic. I was like, I'm good in sales. I'm good with people. I can talk. However, I was uninformed. I didn't know what it took to be a real estate agent. And now that I know, mad respect for everyone that has been doing it for 5+ years. So with that being said, real estate is just a whole different ball game in itself. You really have to master your craft. You can't half-ass it, in a sense, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So yes, totally different than what I thought. I never realized that you would have to be making so many outbound calls.
Yeah. What did you think when you first got in? You just told me you didn't realize it was a direct outbound sales business. Going back to it, what did you think it was? I'm just curious.
Oh my God, you're gonna probably think this is funny. I really thought that once you join real estate, all your family and friends and coworkers are gonna be like, yeah, I want to go with you. I know you. I like you, kind of thing. That's not the case. I found that actually in this industry, the people that you expect to support you and to be there for you are the least to do it. Right? I feel like all of my business has come from outbound calls, have come from other strangers giving me the opportunity, versus people that know me have the concept saying, well, you're new to the business and I don't quite trust you yet.
Yeah.
So that was like shocking, because I'm like, wait a minute, you're supposed to be like my business, but it's not the case. You have to really go out there and find your business.
Yeah, that's well said, Helen. I completely agree with you. I think people get their license and they think, well, I've got a big sphere of influence and then they're going to support me in the business. But to your point, those people are like, well, we know you just got your license. We're not going to trust this huge transaction with you. Go get some experience and then let's talk in a few years. So that puts somebody in a position to go out there and build a business with people they don't know. And so let's get into that a little bit. So you got in the business and you learned very quickly that you had to go out there and generate your own business. And so, did you try anything in the beginning before you committed to direct outbound prospecting that maybe didn't work?
Um, not necessarily. I had the opportunity to join a team that is very strong with outbound calls. So that was my initial introduction to real estate. So,
Lucky you. I mean, that's
right,
huge.
yeah, yeah, it was actually really huge. However, what I started to struggle with half this year before I joined your coaching was that I got really unmotivated. I was very depleted. I was very frustrated. I struggled a lot mentally with my own sanity because I'm just like, what am I doing wrong? Why are other people having success and I'm not? And I think you start to compare yourself, which then starts to hinder your ability to really bring your true potential into the picture. And for a solid 6 months, I was just like, well, what's the point? And then you get listings, they fall apart, and you're like, well, what's the point again, right? And I think a lot of this year for me has really helped me in the sense to create that mental toughness. And I've realized that it's the law of averages. The more people you talk to, yes, you're going to book more appointments, you're going to get more listings, but half of those are not going to close. So you got to keep going. So it was a true shocker to me with real estate. I was like, whoa, had no idea this is how it was going to be. However, I'm happy that that was my introduction because now, since I've been in the coaching program, it's like I know that my good is not good enough. And you're really going to have to bring your A game to the table.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
a great
starting from
point.
zero every day.
Yeah, that's right. And you bring up something really interesting. You brought up the 6 month thing because that is so critical. It really takes a solid 6 months for you to really build some momentum, build some confidence, and that's where you see all the people fall out of the business. So, what was it? What finally clicked for you, Helen? Maybe 6 or 7 months. You and I started working together, but what was it specifically where you maybe started to see some results or made your mindset say, "Okay, I can do this"?
Um, I think truly what had like that switch that kind of just went off was that I didn't work this hard to get this far. I didn't quit a salary job, a good paying job to do this. Like there is no way in hell that I'm going to be not succeeding in my 30s and I was doing better in my 20s. Like that is not how I am. I'm the type of person that sees things through to the end. And I think it was like a conversation with myself, like, I'm good enough. I got what it takes. You just got to start believing in yourself. And it was a sense of frustration, really. I got frustrated with myself. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Do it already, right? So, and that's, I took that leap. I was in no position to obviously join a coaching program, but I did it anyways because the last time I checked, they were printing dollar bills and not time. So I didn't have any more time to waste. And I was like, you know what? This is my end. Let's do it. And I'm happy I did because I know that this is just the tip of the iceberg for me with your coaching.
Yeah, for sure. And we're gonna so let's talk about what the business looks like today. So you now have been able to go out there and produce listings. Kind of walk us through what your production looks like. How many listings you're getting maybe per month and what that looks like, and then we'll kind of break down the business.
Right. So on average, I track my numbers. On average, last September, when I took 5 listings, actually, I spoke to 457 people in a month. I booked 9 listing appointments and I took 5.
It's phenomenal. And that was in 1 month.
And that was in 1 month.
I love it.
And and in this month, my contacts have gone down a little bit. 389 in October. I booked 7 listing appointments, and I only took a buyer lead. Oh my God. I didn't take any listings, and I don't want to lie. I didn't take any listings for the month of October. I did more for sell by owners. And again, I was hitting higher price points. I felt like I was a little out of my league. And that's another realization for me. It's like, no, you got to take it down again to the basics, practice your scripts, and practice your listing presentation. But I've been tracking my numbers, and I see where I need to bring in some extra reinforcement, and that's my listing presentation still.
Yeah, for sure. And I love it. And so now that you're building a pipeline, obviously I think that's what's probably most exciting for you is that as you really build a pipeline, you start having 3, 4, 500 contacts per month. You start setting these appointments. It won't be long until you start listing 4 or 5 properties a month. So let's talk about lead sources. So what lead sources do you work? So you talked about having, I don't know, 450 conversations per month. Who are you calling? What are the sources of business you're working?
So it's expireds, unconditional withdrawals, for sell by owners. Those are
Got
my
it.
3 pillars that I use. And expires were my first introduction to real estate as well. So that's the one that I'm determined to master because that's, yeah, this is low hanging fruit, right? However, you got every single agent in town calling them too. So having to have these tough conversations early in the morning and kind of diffuse a situation when they're yelling at you over the phone. I think that that's a good skill to have, right? Because if you have it in face to face with a potential client, it just helps. By the way, just that's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, so it's expired, unconditional withdrawals, and for sale by owners are the
All
3.
right, cool. So let's break down your kind of your daily schedule. So how many people do you have a contact goal you're looking to hit? Do you have a certain amount of hours you're looking to spend in lead generation? What does that look like on the generating side of the business?
You know, Brendan, that's actually a very good question because I actually started breaking that apart too. I was thinking I need to make, at least 15 good conversations, have 15 good conversations. And now with the market going the way it is, I've seen myself having to prospect more than 3 hours now. And I was on the Kajabi, right? And you had mentioned you need to start prospecting in the afternoon. And that's something that I really have to start implementing if I want to hit 15 to 18 contacts a day. So now so to kind of answer your question, initially my goal was 15 conversations. Now it's at least 4 hours to 6 hours of prospecting. So 4 hours from 8 to 12, and then in the afternoon from maybe 4 to 6.
I love it. And in between, if you have appointments, you go on appointments. And if you have appointments in the
Right.
evening, you go on those appointments. Essentially, Helen, the reason why you're getting success is we boil down the business into 2 things: looking for appointments and going on appointments, period. And you've simplified that. Now, to be fair, so many real estate agents struggle with prospecting, certainly the amount of time that you're prospecting. How are you able to approach the business with the mindset and the discipline to prospect 4 or 5 hours a day when you know as well as I know, maybe you don't, but to give you some context, the average agent probably doesn't prospect 4 hours a month and you're prospecting 4 or 5 hours a day. How are you able to do that day in and day out, even though it's very boring, it's very mundane, you're getting lots of rejection? How are you able to do that day in and day out?
I mean, if I'm going to be honest, I do it because, if I owe it to myself, my business, I owe it to my business. That's the way I look at it. I owe it to stay in my fight because I feel that other people do it and you see the success and it doesn't come easy, right? And I think that if I want to see a successful business, I have to do it. I just have to. Don't get me wrong. Do I like it? Absolutely, I don't. I get migraines half the time because I'm so tired of like having these conversations. But then you meet a client, you get the listing, and they're happy that you sold their home. They're like, "Thank you so much for reaching out to me." So how do I do it? I do it because I have to,
Yeah.
not because I want to. And I think
Yeah.
that's the best way you can look at it.
Yeah, the way and I agree. And the thing is, I would say that any first year agent, even the first, I would say 3 years, you're really paying the price today for what you want in the future. You know, if we want to make $4, 5, 6, $700,000 per year, well, naturally we're going to have to put in the work. You know, everybody says they want to make a lot of money right up until it's time to put in a lot of work. You know, and we can make more than an orthopedic surgeon. We can. However, if you look at the surgeon, they pay the price, 8, 10, 12 years of schooling, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. They work 20 hours a day for 4 years during their internship without getting paid anything to
Right.
then one day make 400 or 500 grand a year. So we're paying the price. Everybody wants it now. The way that I look at it is you're simply just paying the price today for what Helen wants in the future. And if you keep doing this, there's zero doubt that you can be a multiple six-figure income earner. And with that being said, what is your goal? Because you said earlier you left a great paying career to get into this industry. Financially, what are some of the goals that you have for yourself for the future?
Financially, I would have to say that I at least want to break the six figure, right? You want to
Yeah, for
make at
sure.
least 100,000. I think if you make 100,000 in this business, I think you got something going for yourself, right? I'm not saying that if I don't hit it next year, that's a bad thing. No, but that is my goal financially. Is yeah, hit that six figure.
Crack the six figures, and then from there, who knows what's
Who
next?
knows, right? But
Yeah,
that's my first main priority. Um, and I guess my second main priority in real estate for this upcoming 2023 is really being comfortable with rejection. I'm still not comfortable with it. It still hurts. Yeah, October, I had a solid September. October kind of took a dip, and I was starting to feel that again. I'm like, no, just keep going. Just forget about it. That was last month. Now it's this month. So I think it's like it's mastering my emotions. I
that's
think
right.
I'm a very emotional person, obviously. But I think mastering my emotions is something that I want to definitely implement a lot more in 23, because I feel like if you master your emotions, I think everything else will come with a breeze. But if you don't, then you're like a roller coaster. You do things when you feel like it. And when you're up, and when you're down, you're down. And I don't want that to affect me in the future like it did 6 months ago. So that's a main priority for me as well, is to control all of this.
Yeah, and that's the hardest part, right? I mean, in between the ears is probably the hardest game that we have to play every day to be consistent. Give us maybe one best practice, Helen, that you're finding while prospecting over the telephone that you're finding is working, that's allowing you to generate leads and generate appointments over the phone.
Um, I would have to say, really start your day early. I have a Peloton bike. I get on my bike in the morning and I do sweat for at least 20 to 30 minutes. And then kind of look at I don't have a vision board. I actually have a notebook of all the goals that I want to achieve. And I think I always kind of glance through it before I start my prospecting. And that's really helped me get into that mindset of like, this is why you're doing this. Now go for it and attack it head on. And I think if you constantly remind yourself of why you started this, it just becomes easier. I think that's my best practice is constantly remind yourself, why did you start? Where will you be in 6 months if you don't stop?
Mm.
And that helps. And again, yeah, wake up early, have a workout routine, something. I don't take cold showers. I'm not doing that. but I think that really helps me. And then remind yourself why you got in the business, and then go for it all over again. Then every morning.
Yeah. And I love that. Are there any skills that you're finding over the phone? So when you're talking to a prospect, are there any scripts that are working, any skill sets that you're finding that are working really well that helps you set these listing appointments?
I would have to say, with expireds, it's more of that sense of curiosity, like you say.
That's
Just
right.
be curious. Just like, hey, before you let me go, let me ask you this, and get your last question in. Now, if they don't want to talk, they don't want to talk. But I think the best is just coming from a place of curiosity. It's like, did you get any offers? Well, what did that look like? Well, what type of feedback did you get back from your agent? And then let them do the talking and realize, like, well, maybe you got to you have to seek a second opinion. I think that's what's really working for me, is just coming from a place of curiosity and just saying, hey, hypothetically, right? If I can get you another offer, how does that sound to you?
Sure.
I think that really works. So.
Yeah. That I love it. I love it. And then what about for sell by owners? What are you finding that is working when you're having these conversations over the phone?
So with for sale by owners, I really like your approach. You don't come from a place of, well, I can get you more money for your house. You're like, no, because I don't even know if selling your home is going to be worth it or not, right?
Right.
What's helped me with for sale by owners is approaching it into the sense where if in the future you can't sell, would you consider potentially hiring me or interviewing me for the possibility of potentially getting you more for your home or getting it sold in a timely manner? And
Sure.
then they're like, well, yeah, I don't see why not. And I was able to book more for sale by owner appointments. And I went in with the intention of, I want to list your home. So it's still kind of in the air, right? I'm still following up with them. They're still on the market. But what's helping me with for sale by owners is, again, it's come from a place of curiosity as a hypothetical question like, well, if you can't sell it on your own, are you ready to interview the right person to do it for you?
Yeah.
And I think that really helps too.
Yeah, it's great. So if you could rewind and go back, get licensed all over again, a year and a half ago, and you could talk to that Helen, knowing what you know right now, what would
Oh,
you
man.
tell yourself that maybe
Don't
some
do
other,
it.
I know, that it's maybe some other new real estate agents could benefit from? Because you're right. It's funny you just said that, but really, there's a lot of people that get into real estate that shouldn't. But knowing all the stuff you know now, going through all of the ups and downs that you've gone through, what would you tell yourself?
Um, I think I would tell myself, make a commitment to your commitment in a sense, right? It's like you make a commitment, yeah. Now make a commitment to that commitment on top of it because it's gonna get rough. And if you're in it for the long haul, you're gonna I mean, this industry will put some knots in your head. That's all I have to say. And you gotta be willing to like get up, dust yourself off, and like, all right, let's keep going. I think the greatest advice that I would tell myself is that if you're gonna do it for the right reasons. Do it because this is truly a desire you have in your heart, not because someone else is telling you to do it. And make a commitment to the commitment that you're making to yourself today if you want to see something in the future.
Yeah, and what you mean by that, I think, is what people often do is while they're excited about starting something new, they say, "Oh, I want to go and create this new thing, this new relationship, this new career. I'm so excited." But then after they get started and after that excitement goes down, it's really easy to lose that commitment. So really
Yeah.
uh, making a commitment and having the discipline to follow through on that commitment long after the excitement has left. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. You have to get past the honeymoon phase, just like anything in life, right? That new car smell, the new
That's
house,
right.
the new, once you get past it, like, oh, this is so new and beautiful. Now it's just like, oh God, now what?
That's
You
right.
really have to see it through. And I think my best advice that I can give all the new agents that are listening to me today is get past that 6 month hurdle.
Yeah.
Get past those negative emotions that you will get. You will start to doubt yourself and you will start to doubt every single thing you start to do. But you have to remind yourself, why did you start? And who is counting on you in order for you to finish? Finish because you can't, not because you want to. It's kind of like in a marathon, right? You got
That's
five
right.
miles left and it's so close, yet it seems so far. And I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but it's still a lot of work. And I think that your grind has to match your goal. That's it, bottom line.
Love it. Well said. What's your goal for 2023?
My goal for 2023, feeling the way I'm feeling now, I want to take at least 50 listings next year. I want to sell 50 listings. 50 listings, if I can hit that goal, yes.
That'd be massive.
Yes. That's in my heart. That's my goal. And that's the goal that I see now and I want to go full on, just like let's do it.
Amazing. And I can't wait to be right by your side to do it. And so thank you for taking some time to pour back into a very difficult industry. And there'll be a lot of real estate agents that watch this that you will inspire through your story. So thank you for taking time out of your day to do this. We really appreciate you very, very much.
Thank you, Brandon. It was a pleasure. And obviously, it's an honor to have the opportunity to speak to you.
Absolutely, Helen. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.